What is going on, my friends? Fox here, FXRC, with a new truck. It is the all-new Arrma BigRock, the newest version, and definitely a nice looking little truck. To be honest, this really wasn't a truck I was intending on doing or really kind of wanted to do initially, just because I've kind of been steering away from the smaller bashers in a way. You know, I did have the previous version of this. You know, I had it for a while. It was a great little truck, and I ended up just selling it and getting rid of it because I really didn't use it, and it just really wasn't something, you know, that I didn't want anymore. So I just ended up selling it. You know, and I really didn't regret it, I guess, either. So anyway, this really wasn't a truck that I was, you know, intending on really doing, but it was getting such amazing reviews and people, you know, obviously loving this thing that I started to think about it. But then, even then, I still was very reluctant to want to go down, you know, that small scale basher road again. And I want to say the main thing would be probably the 12mm hex. You know, I don't know, and maybe even some of the, you know, because when you get to these smaller, it's a lot of plastic, you know, and this has a price tag of like $320 US, so it's not terribly expensive. It's pretty, you know, affordable, I guess. So M2C did come out with a 17mm hex adapter for this truck, and that's kind of what sealed the deal for me. You know, I love M2C, everything they make. So if they made something for this truck that was going to allow me to put 17mm hex tires on these, then I thought, well, maybe I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll give it a shot and see what the new BigRock's all about. So, and here we go. There it is. You know, hopefully there's another thing they're coming out with soon that will also be on this. Hopefully, like I said, it'll be out really soon. I don't know. And that really, this is definitely a nice looking truck. It's definitely got my style with the whole, I like that whole dark blacked out look is something I just really like. So it definitely is a good fit for me. So as far as tires, and I guess the outside anyway, I did end up going with a set of these Proline Badland MX 2.8s. It's a tire I know very well. I've had them quite a few times now, and they are just a really good tire. They do balloon, but they're still just a really good tire. I had these on my Trugify Typhon for a long time. Until eventually they just stopped kind of really holding the glue bead on it, so I had to switch them out. But they lasted quite a long time, so very good tire. That's why I decided to go with that on this. And I guess as far as the outside, that is about it. Now, I did do something a little different with this truck than I normally do, and I did not switch out the radio. I kept the stock radio, at least for now, in it. And the reason I did that is because it's my belief that this is actually under the stock, the protocol for the old Tactic radios, which was, I would say, hands down my absolute favorite RTR radio ever made. I loved it. It was an amazing RTR radio, just really good little radio. So if that's what this is, then maybe this should be as good as that, and then I wanted to at least see and try first before I switch it out. So that's why I did keep it. And as you can see, I do have one of the original Tactics right here. And like I said, because I absolutely love this radio, I never got rid of it. I don't actually use it to this day, but because I loved it so much, I just kept it anyway. So anyway, I would be interesting because you can really see the similarities in the two radios. They're almost identical. You know, some slight differences in like the ergonomics of it, but they're very, very close in the actual design and everything. So I could totally see it probably is just a copy, which is great. I'd be curious to see if I could actually bind this radio to the receiver in this truck. So we will find out, because I do kind of like the wheel on this. These radios made it really, really easy for you to actually drive with one hand, steer with one hand, and you know, see how. Which actually, this you can. It's not quite as nice, but you can still kind of steer a little bit and drive with one hand. So it's kind of nice. And I guess that's about it for the radio. So hopefully, like I said, I'm just really interested to see if this is as nice as the old Tactic, and that's why I kept it. Moving on. I guess then, I mean, really not a lot that I had to do to this truck, or really did to this truck. In its stock form, it's apparently very, very rugged. I don't know, because I haven't driven it yet. So it might have been very rugged, but that's kind of what I do. I can't help it. And I kind of try to, I don't know, I just upgrade anyway. So I did do a few things. There was some things on here that I absolutely just don't like. One, of course, being the plastic shocks. Like completely plastic shocks are just, I know they're trying to hit a certain price point with this truck, and they got to keep costs down. And maybe those shocks are amazing. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of plastic shocks. So I switched those out and a couple other things, but I will get you over the truck, get you looking down, and you can see better kind of what I did. Alright guys, there you have it. There it is. It's, you know, it's a pretty simple little truck. There's really not much to it. Definitely a really good beginner truck for sure. And to be honest, I don't think necessarily the route that I took might not be the best, and you're probably better off just taking this truck the way it is and just bashing it the way it is, because it's probably going to be more than enough for this little platform here. Because it is such a low price point vehicle, RC. You can kind of see that in the construction of the parts. You know, you can see that it's, I don't want to say cheaply made, because I don't think it's cheaply made, but it's made very inexpensively, and you can kind of see that. You know, the plastic rod ends, they have the plastic ball and the little balls in there, and usually those are at least metal. So they did take some steps to cut some costs, and which, like I said, I mean, that's okay. That's the price point of this vehicle. I don't really see it really affecting the performance of it by any means. So for what I did to improve this truck, and I don't know necessarily how much is not going to improve it, it's just kind of what I do, I guess. These beautiful 17mm hex adapters by M2C. Now, these are absolutely hands down nicest 17mm hex adapters I've ever seen. M2C doesn't make bad things. I've never had an M2C part that I didn't absolutely love, so ultimately anyway. And these are no exception. They are certainly going to do the job well. They test them thoroughly before they put them into production, so I'm sure that they're going to work great holding these tires on, which is kind of what they need to do. So this is the actual bolt that holds the hex on. If I can focus, there we go, is the actual bolt, and it's a very substantial little bolt, and this bolt is actually very, very important to the success of the 17mm hex adapter. And you definitely want to Loctite this down and cinch it up pretty good. Like I said, because it's pretty substantial, I wouldn't really worry about it breaking, because that tends to be one of the issues with some of these adapters, is this piece right here will snap when you try to screw it on, because the sidewall of the screw is way too thin, and this is not. This is a very nice looking little bolt, and it should do the trick on holding that on there. So, and like I said, M2C makes wonderful parts. So that's how I got these tires on there, these 17. Now I could have got these tires on there without that, because these have the changeable offset, so I could have left in 12 millimeter. But anytime I can go 17 over 12, I will take it on a basher rig any day. It's just going to be much more. It's going to hold up a lot better. So anyway, as far as these are actually the stock tires. I want to kind of give you guys a good comparison. They're really no difference in the actual circumference. They're about the same. They've just got a little bit extra width. And because the offset on these things are so extreme on the stock tires, that with the 5, even with the +5 on the hex adapters here is a +5, and then the offset of these tires, it really doesn't push the tire out that much. It only does because the tire is wider. So it's a perfect little stance for this truck. So like I said, with the +5 on the adapters and the offset on these tires, it works out great. So these are still a pretty good little tire though. You know, I wouldn't knock them. I'm sure I've seen they seem to be doing pretty well, and they're actually vented on the outside, which is great. You don't see that in vehicles very often, so I love to start seeing basher rigs where they start venting on the outside. That's a great improvement. And then I guess the next biggest obvious thing are these beautiful Arrma shocks. These are off the Arrma Typhon 6S. I believe they're off the V5 actually, and they're pretty much just a direct bolt-on. I didn't really have to do much. The only real difference is the size of the hole on the inside of the shock cap is a little larger on these shocks than the stock ones, so you kind of have to try to take up some of that slack with either spacers or just rubber. I just got a couple rubber kind of washer things I made in there. So you can see it still kind of moves, and I could probably fix that. I don't think it's going to be a big deal not to fix it. And it really wouldn't be that hard to rectify that if you had to, but hands down these shocks are going to be a load better than the stock ones. Not to say that the stock ones are bad by any means. As far as plastic shocks go, these are actually pretty nice. They're probably even going to hold oil pretty good, I imagine, but it's like I said, as far as plastic shocks go, these are actually not that bad. Whatever. I changed them anyway. So I kept all of the electronics so far. I want to at least see. Ultimately, I'm sure that I'm going to have to change the servo. It's probably not going to do that well with these tires, but we'll see. As well as ESC, I do believe that with these tires, this ESC is probably going to be pushing it to its extreme, and I might need to address that. I have a abundance of 6S Arrma ESCs, the BLX, whatever they are, the BLX 185s. I have plenty of them where I could throw this in, and because ultimately I will be running this on 4S. But for now, I will do the 3 and see where it goes. I'm waiting to do that for that other upgrade from M2C, where it's like this motor plate right here. They have an M2C one coming out, hopefully very soon, and then I will then probably, providing that everything is holding up great, and I will move forward to make this a 4S rig. I think that's going to be a more suitable for the stance and for power and stuff. I think it's going to be a good place for this little truck. So, and then as far as that, I did end up doing some hot racing C-hubs here, as well as the steering block right there is all hot racing, and then as well as the rear hubs are hot racing. And then I did do the hot racing steering assembly in there. If you can see it, you can kind of see some of it, and that's all the hot racing aluminum. You know, it did take out some of the slack. I don't think any of that hot racing stuff is probably not that important on this truck. And like I said, where it's such a lower price point vehicle, you're probably better off just running it the way it is. If something breaks, fix it. Because probably the parts aren't going to be that much. This is obviously going to add some strength. It's going to give it a little bit better rigidity in a way. It's going to maybe steer a little bit better, but ultimately it's really probably not going to help that much. This is just something I do. More often than not, if hot racing makes a part for a vehicle, I'm probably going to buy it and put it on. I love hot racing parts, so why not, right? Well, like I said, I don't know if it's necessarily the best route for this vehicle. I think it'd probably be just fine the way it is, honestly. And really, that is as far as I've gotten so far. Like I said, I will ultimately, hopefully, be putting this to 4S once the M2C stuff comes out. I'll have to adjust the plastic spur gear. I'm not exactly sure. I know the 4S slipper assembly will fit in here, but if I can just put a metal spur gear on the 3S slipper clutch, I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna have to look into that and adjust that as it comes. So there's plenty of room in here to put a larger motor and a bigger ESC, so I'm not really worried, but I'm sure that I'm definitely probably gonna have to do the servo pretty quickly, I imagine. I'm not sure how these stock servos go on these Spectrum servos. I do think the actual servo saver is the servo horn, is the servo saver itself. So this is I think a 23 tooth, so I'm somehow gonna have to get another servo saver because it's not part of the steering assembly. It's actually attached to the servo itself, and you do kind of want to have a servo saver. It's not really good to not have one. You're risking your servo. And then that's about it. So the Arrma BigRock, pretty cool looking little truck. You know, it's a fun truck. I think it's definitely a truck that, you know what I mean, you can kind of I feel like just throw it around and not really care about it. It's not a huge money truck. The parts are really probably not a huge money, and I imagine this thing can take a hell of a beating. I've seen people really putting this thing to the test, and it takes it. So you know, there's obviously stuff about it that I'm not crazy about, with the plastic drive shafts and stuff like that, and I don't even think there is a fix for that, but maybe there is, or an upgrade for that. But like I said, I don't know if that's necessarily necessary for this truck. It just doesn't, unless these things prove to start being an issue where it's not handling it because of the power of the tires, I'll probably just leave that stuff the way it is. So, all right, my friends, there you have it. First look of my brand new Arrma BigRock. Definitely excited to get this thing out and see how durable it really is, I guess, and see what it's capable of. Like I said, I probably will continue to pursue making this 4S rig ultimately. I do believe that this probably would have been just fine the way it was stock, and you really probably don't have to do much, and I definitely chose to, but I really can't help it. It does look absolutely amazing with these tires on it. It really changes up the stance, gives it a much more aggressive, wider kind of stance, and it should perform a little better. So I can't wait, but definitely let me know what you think. You know, are you considering maybe getting a BigRock? Do you have a BigRock? And maybe even some of the things that you have done to your BigRock, if nothing at all. I love reading you guys' comments and trying to respond to absolutely every single one, the best to my ability. And once again, just thank you so much for watching. I cannot tell you what it means to me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and look forward to my next video. Thank you so much. FXRC, bye. I'll give you guys a quick look at the part numbers there. The hot racing, really not that many, but just in case anybody is interested, there's the part numbers, as well as the M2C. I believe